All right, so this week, retail investor bullishness, it actually ebbed a lot, folks. It went down to 42% from 49%. I think that's a pretty dramatic one-week decline. Bearishness, as you can see, climbed at a more modest pace up to 27% from 23%. Mostly, investors are becoming more neutral. Joining me now, Kingsview Wealth Management CIO Scott Martin. Scott, I got to tell you something. I know Wall Street is always dissing the retail investor, but I believe that this sentiment gauge has been a far better harbinger of what's going to happen in the market than the pros, who ironically are overwhelmingly bullish on this market right now. Where do you stand?
Yeah, I'm somewhat bullish, I guess, Charles. I'm kind of in between, and I agree with you. I think the nice thing about the individual investor is, while we're all emotional, we're all involved in stocks and bonds and alternatives, and we get freaked out sometimes when we get inflation numbers like we did this week. But then we change quickly. We get bearish, and then we get bullish, and we get bearish and bullish again, and that's a fun kind of bouncing ball to follow. But the reality is, Charles, with the pros, it seems like they wait too long to turn down or to turn back, and then they wait too long to turn up. So yeah. I like the fact that some of the sentiment numbers are able to react more closely to what's going on outside our doors.
You know, late last year, there was this this amazing study that came out. I forgot which university did it, but it talked about, like, the higher the IQ, the more the ego came into play. And it's ironic because it's sort of dissed the folks, like, the lower the IQ, the more optimistic you are, right? So I don't know, because I feel like I'm pretty optimistic, and I hope I've got a relatively high IQ, but ego is a big thing. So let's talk about one of the things that nudges ego, or one of the reasons why maybe the street has overlooked economic data that came out this week. Because I got to tell you, the stuff that we saw this week damages the bull thesis.
It does, and I think your ego, Charles, just as a personal opinion, as a friend and a colleague, I guess, I think it touches all-time highs daily, brother. But here's the thing. I mean, ego, you're right. Ego gets in your way. I mean, we talk about these old, say, things of parlance where it's like, you know, stay out of your own way, get out of your own head. That's very important. It's kind of similar to when the investor thinks they've got this sure thing, and they think they have this definite buy, and it's something they've heard, something that they've read, versus, say, industry knowledge or things that say they've done on their own work that they've found themselves. And so you have to make sure that you check that ego or check that confidence at the door, and make sure that you look, as we do at, say, Monarch Funds or Kingsview, to figure out what the fundamentals are telling us, and therefore make the decisions in our portfolios. All
right, let's quickly go over some of your ideas then. You like Yum. I haven't heard Yum in a long time.
I do. Yeah, nobody has, actually. And, you know, other than the Taco Bell thing I had about a year and a half ago, spending $28, the Yum foods are yummy. And frankly, they've got great margin. They've got great demand. Yes, inflation, by the way, Charles, is probably hurting them a little bit, because I went to Waffle House down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, when we have one of our offices, and spent only $22 at breakfast there. So inflation is actually coming down and getting better. But Yum Brands and some of those companies within Yum, KFC and so forth, yeah, they've got a lot of pricing power.
$22 is the fee to order food in New Jersey from Grubhub. All right, speaking of delicious food.
So come down and visit me.
I will. Speaking of delicious food, we got to talk about Costco and that delicious hot dog that they serve for $1.
I love the hot dogs, man. I love the pizza, and I love the prices and the bulk items at Costco. And so Costco is one of those companies that's really off to the races. You want to talk about ego? This is one that kind of stokes my ego a little bit. We've been talking about Costco for quite some time, Charles. It's been a great buy for investors, but profit margins are going crazy at Costco. Net revenue numbers are looking very good. We love COST here.
When Sam Walton was alive, he said Costco was the only retailer that he could not beat, the only one.
And he was right.
And he was right. Scott, thanks a lot, my friend. We'll talk again soon.
Enjoy. See ya.
All right, folks.